for future Herman's sake when she has to watch this. Okay. You're welcome, future Herman. Hello, it's Miss Heather, piano and voice teacher here at Conservatory of the Ozarks. And I'm here today with Herman, and we're going to talk about how to play from a chord chart. For Dracula, you don't want to be in the camera, right?
That's okay. Do you want me to hold it? No.
This might be perfect.
Okay.
You might need to in a little bit, but because you will need to see my hands. So,
Okay.
you could tap on your lap. This is a way of practicing this. Okay, yeah, this is in 4. So, with your right hand, you can just do. Actually, let's do this. This is the most simple way possible for the pattern. You can go left, right, left, right. And that's pretty simple. So if you're in 2 or 4, that's where you can start. So with chords, you have what's called a triad, which is 3 pitches stacked on top of each other. And so if you see a chord on paper in what's called root position, which means the root of the chord is on the bottom of the chord, you'll see 3 notes stacked on top of each other on 3 lines or 3 spaces. If you see the keys, you'll see this. Key, skip a key, skip a key, another key. And all of the things I'm saying right now are also like not true. Not 100% true all the time, but I'm just kind of giving vague basics here. And the 3, can you hand me your journal? I'll write some of this down. The 3 parts of a triad are always going to be called the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. And between each of the 2 intervals, because you remember an interval is the distance between 2 pitches. So you have an interval from the root to the 3rd, like this, and then you have a distance from the 3rd to the 5th, like this. So it's actually 2 intervals stacked on top of each other. And so you have a 3rd, and then you have another 3rd, and they happen at the same time, which creates a triad. 2 thirds. And that's what we call a chord. So you can play a chord like this, and that's called root position. Root position means the root is the bottom pitch. You can do what's called inverting of the chord and put the root on top. So you still have 2 intervals, but now this interval is still a 3rd, just like it was before, because so it will be in C, because that's the easiest for most people to understand. Let's see, can you see my hand? Yeah. So you play C, E, G. You could take the C, the root of a C chord. C, E, G is how you would say the chord is spelled. The chord is spelled C, E, G. So as long as the chord is spelled C, E, G, doesn't matter what is on the bottom or what order or configuration the pitches happen, still a C chord, because C, E, G is how a C chord is spelled. So you could take the C and put the C up an octave higher, like this. That's called inverting the chord.
Okay, but then you have more distance?
Right, so now suddenly the interval here is a 4th instead of a 3rd.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and then so instead of the root being on the bottom, in first inversion, we have the 3rd on the bottom, and the 5th and the root are above. That's the first way we can invert any chord, which is why it's called first inversion, which inverting, just means to change the configuration of the 3 elements. We have 3 pitches involved, so how many different configurations could we play the 3 pitches in?
Another, like a 3?
3, right. So we could have a second inversion. And do you have a guess what we would need to do?
Would you move over to the 5th?
Right.
That would be the starting.
The 5th. Oh, and I should have written, these should be called 5th and 3rd. That is a little bit important because later when you learn your Roman numerals, you'll say 1, not first.
I see.
So, but these intervals should have a th or whatever goes after them. So if fifth is on the bottom, what will come next?
That would be the root.
Right. And after the root
would be the third.
Yeah. And so it looks like this root position. We're going to take the root because we don't want the root on the bottom anymore, and we'll put it up here. So now C is on top, and we've got the third on the bottom. First inversion. And then for second inversion, we put the fifth on the bottom and move both the root and the third up to the top, like this. And so now we have the third on top, and the bottom becomes a fourth. And so using the fingers 1, 3, 5 for the right hand when you're playing in root position, 1, 3, 5 with the right hand, those are the right hand finger numbers, that makes a lot of sense because you leave out 2 fingers and you leave out 2 keys. So that's like a really efficient way of playing the chord. But when you suddenly have a fourth and not 2 sets of thirds, using it's I love you in sign language, you know, so using 1, 2, 5 makes a lot more sense because suddenly the bigger interval has a bigger amount of space between your fingers. So you want to always use 1, 2, 5 for a first inversion chord. You always use 1, 3, 5 for a root position chord, and then you always use 1, 3, 5 again for a second inversion chord because now the fourth is here, and this and scrunching these 2 fingers up in the smaller interval doesn't make any sense. So you go root position, first inversion, second inversion, but of course don't tuck your fingers like I'm doing. I'm just doing that to show you, so it's like, right? So you can do that way of inverting with any chord that you ever wanted to play. And what I just showed is if you were playing in C major with a C major chord, and but that you're not going to be using a C major chord. You're going to be using these 4 chords: D, A, E, and G. And so I wrote next to each of the chords what inversion you'll want to use. So for D, you want to use root position, and I just put the spelling of the chord right after the name of the chord. So D major equals D, F, A, like this. D, F sharp A, I should say. And oh, did I put? Yeah, I put the finger numbers 1, 3, 5 with the right hand, like that. And then the next chord is A. So this is why I talked all about those inversions. I hope you can see my. Yeah, maybe, but you can't see it. There we go. Okay, so this is the first chord. The next chord is A, so you could go D to A. It sounds like garbage, though. Listen to this. And look how far. It's like so far, and then you have to come back down here. So instead of doing root position D, root position A, you can even see here where I wrote it out. D and C sharp are right next door to each other. E and F sharp are right next to each other. Oh, and A, look at that. A is what we call a common tone because you can have your pinky on A for both if you just use first inversion A chord instead of root position A chord. And I'm just tucking my fingers out of the way so you can see. But so all you have to do is this: D, A. So 1, 3, 5, D, F sharp, A, and then 1, 2, 5, C sharp, E, A for the A chord. And then for E minor, you're going to do this. That one's a little controversial. You could make an argument for doing this. There's not like a really perfectly clear answer because you have no common tones between A major and E minor. But I picked this inversion because you have a G major after, and that's so easy. All you have to do is switch, take your third finger off E and put your second finger down on D. So all your right hand has to do is D, A, E minor, and then G. Your left hand for this week, whatever the name of the chord is, which is what I wrote here, you play that note.
Okay.
That's it. So
do you hold it down?
You can or not for now.
Okay.
So you can put your hand in D position like this, which means your fifth finger starting on D. and you'll have all the keys you need to play. So if you see a D chord, you'll play D. If you see an A chord, you'll play A. If you see E, you'll play E for E minor, and G, you'll play this. So you don't have to move at all. So this is how you would put the pattern together, the left, right thing we did at the beginning. You play what I showed you with the left hand, and then you play what I showed you with the right hand. So it's going to be D chord is like D left hand, D right hand, A chord, E chord, G chord, and then you just do it again a million times because it's a 4-chord song. So here is my story, I got my time. Let's go up here at the top so I can see what it actually goes like. And so the blue chords, that is what tells you what to do. Chord charts, the nice thing is they're free. Or you can get them for free online a lot of times. The bad thing is, who knows who did this? I have no clue. And so it may be good, it may not. Sheet music, you're usually pretty sure it's going to be good because you paid for it and somebody got paid to edit it and stuff. So it's a kind of a trade-off. But so the chord might not change over the correct syllable in the lyrics with a free chord chart very often. But this is what it should be like. When you see the D, you go like this. Looks like you change every beat, which is a fast harmonic rhythm. Here is my story, I got my tie, sharp fangs and skinny jeans, black boots and red, not a public enemy, not Cinderella, still got my shoes. And so if you try to practice this with Bogveen right now, she'll probably feel pretty frustrated because you won't be very good at it yet. Oh, and I just added the pedal. You can just do the damper pedal, like left hand goes down when right hand's ready. Pedal goes up, down really quick. See, like up, down, like that. That would be like the next thing to add in. You don't have to add the pedal this week. Just left, right is enough. But a really fun way to practice this, future Herman, is with B. Miller. Put it on really loud. I'll show you here just really quick. And you can see it's so fun because you can just play along. And you could do either just left hand or just right hand until you get it perfect. And then you can practice with your real life singer. So, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.